It's Brian Preston, the Money Guy.
All right, Brian, this next one is from Rocky Mountain Reviewer. And this is what Rocky Mountain Reviewer said. Big fan. New investor here. Why do articles say the market is unpredictable, but also confidently say it will go up around 7% across decades? So it sounds like he's getting some conflicting information here.
Yeah.
He's heard that over the long term, markets kind of make money, but right now it's unpredictable. Help him as a brand new investor understand why that's the case and where should his mindset be in that construct.
What's funny is I had somebody on Twitter, I saw it and I responded because they had a question talking about why would I invest in this crazy volatile period right now? And I was like, well, it's really of when do you need the money?
Yeah.
Because that will clear the noise quicker than anything else in the world as you say, when do I need the money? And because that will also tie into your holding period. How long before you actually have to touch the money and so you can find the best use for it. If you were in your 20s, and you know you're not going to touch this money for 40 years, 50 years. I mean, some of this money could be growing for, decades upon decades. I can tell you very quickly, 10 years from now, 15 years, 20 years from now, if you think markets are overpriced now, wait until you see where they are in 10, 15, 20 years, because that cleared the noise on that. Now, do I know that markets are going to be higher next year? Do I know that they're going to be higher in 3 years? No. And that's why in the short term, this is why I tell people, don't put money in the financial markets unless you can walk away from it for 5 to 7 years at a minimum, because we could be in for a lot of volatility and that could cause you a lot of emotional distress and other things. So timing does matter. In the short term, it can feel like it's speculative. It can feel like it's gambling. But in the long term, investing is a wealth creation machine. I mean, it is amazing. And that's why you are getting those split messages there. Because think about all the talking heads that are on all the Fox Business or the CNBCs or even your nightly news. They're filling air to basically sell ads. The programming is ancillary to them selling you advertising. So they have to keep you engaged. So a big component of that is the fear aspect of trying to talk about what's going on with the market. Is it going up today? Is it going down? They fill a lot of space with that because it'd be pretty boring if they came on. They wouldn't be able to sell a lot of ads if they came on and said, guess what? Every decade, 8 of the years of this decade, of the 10 years, market's going to probably be up. 2 years, it's going to have volatility. Plan accordingly. That wouldn't sell a lot of fear advertising or other things that they're pushing. But that is the reality that they can say that we know from watching behavior of financial markets and the cycles they run in. 8 out of 10 years or 80% of the time markets are up. And we also know over the 90 plus year history that markets typically make between 10 to 11%. Now, look, we don't know because there will be decades where maybe the market is under 10%, and then there'll be decades it's over 10% because it equalizes out over the long term. But don't let the noise distract you from actually making the right decisions. And that's why we do talk about for the brand new investor, not somebody who's got $1 million. I'm talking about somebody who's funding their Roth IRA for the first time or for the first time, first 5 years. When do you need the money and how much can you save? Because we've said it all many times before. Savings rate is so much more important than where you put the money, and then go consider something as simple as an index target retirement fund.
Yeah, I'm going to do a stretch here. I don't know if this analogy, I was kind of saying it in my head. I think it works. This is the way I would kind of think about investing for a young person. I do not know with certainty that the sun is going to rise tomorrow, right? And I have no control over that. I don't get to control if the sun comes out. But could you imagine if I made the decisions today based on the uncertainty of the sun not coming up tomorrow, I probably wouldn't make very prudent decisions. However, if I look at the history of civilization, it certainly seems like every day sun kind of just keeps coming back out. It keeps, we keep spinning around this thing. It keeps working. And so I can probably make some decisions today with the assumption that sun's going to come back tomorrow, and that's probably going to work out well for me. The markets are no different. It's exactly what Brian says. Over the last 70, 80, 90, 100 years, they tend to make money over time. Companies tend to be profitable. Investors in said companies tend to be rewarded for that over the long term. So if you're just kind of hedging your bets on probabilities, odds are, if reversion to the mean is a true thing, you can kind of bank on what your long-term rate of return will most likely be. It's not a certainty, but history certainly would suggest it seems like it's high probability.